to Zoom in the way that it was supposed to. So we had to set up another URL. So welcome to Saturn Medicine Part 1. As is the way with Saturn, it sometimes makes us work a little bit extra hard to get to where we want to go. So today we're going to be talking about the themes of Saturn, and we're going to be talking about why it's so auspicious and optimal to be exploring these themes during this time. And I'm just going to couch this by saying that, we are in a Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on. And that's like the spoiler alert. That's why it's so auspicious for us to explore this at this time. Now, I want to welcome everyone who is on Zoom. Thank you so much for coming. And you know that once we are done with the live stream portion of this, we're going to just shut down the live stream part, and we're going to go into our own circle. I'm really excited for what's going to come through in our private circle with Saturn and the energy of Saturn. I'm feeling like we're going to have some sort of energy work and activation during our private circle. So if you're just stumbling upon us and you haven't seen or didn't get the advance invitation for this series, this is the first part of 3 in the Saturn Medicine series, and we are just going to just explore the overview of the themes of Saturn today and how you can begin to work with the energy of Saturn to create a stronger foundation moving forward in your life. So I've got some slides prepared, but before we do that, I just want to set up some rules or some guidelines. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and chat in and let me know that you're there. There's probably going to be a little bit of a lag. And I'm hoping that you can hear me because I've muted myself out on YouTube. If you can't hear me, please let me know so that I can get you a better, I can unmute myself and figure out what we're going to do about the chat. So let's just calm down. That's for me. I haven't streamed directly onto YouTube in so long. It's actually kind of stressful. I've put StreamYard on hold for a little while, just because of Saturn retrograde, or just my Saturn return. Yeah, so Starry-Eyed is here, and I just want to acknowledge Judy is here on the Zoom call, and Starry-Eyed is here. Transiting your Mars, Sun, and Mercury in the 10th house during this retrograde. So you're, oh, great. So I love the synchronicities. Yeah, and Dror Ashkenazi is here, and you can hear me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's go ahead and create an energetic circle here. Take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to settle in. We've got a Zoom group going, and we've also got those of you who are joining us live on YouTube as well. So let's all come into circle here, feel our feet on the ground and feel our footing here. Take a deep breath, relax, maybe put your hands on your heart and set an intention for opening to the messages of Saturn that are going to be most supportive during this time together. And as we do that, we are creating this space of consciousness for all of us to come together and explore Saturn. Now, just by background, for those of you who have stumbled in, my name is Sandy Freshy. I'm a human design reader, a human design expert, and I'm an intuitive guide. I work in the Akashic records, and I'm an armchair astrologer. So some of you, like Starry Eyed, may have some you know, things to add astrology wise, and I welcome that in the chat. And Judy, if you want to chat in as well on Zoom, that would be great too, if you have things to add. And today we are just talking about what the themes of Saturn are. And in this the first part where we're live streaming this free to the public, it's more of an educational thing. So I'm going to put up some slides here in a few seconds just to kind of keep me on track. And then once we get all of the info out, and welcome to those of you who are here to get the info, we welcome you. We're going to just shut down the live stream and go into a private group, and I'm feeling into the energy and feeling like we're going to have some energetic activations that will come through in the private portion. Now, let me give you a little bit. I'm going to just chat in so I don't have to explain this over and over. But this is something that has come in with me sort of doing my own intuitive work and connection work with my own Saturn return. This is kind of a new format, a new structure, and there's a lot restructuring in my business, as is the course with Saturn, right? So this is, hold on, Saturn. If you want to join us for the series, we have 2 more in the series where we're going to dive deeper into Saturn in your human design chart. And then we're going to also dive into, hold on, let me make sure I have this link right. In the third part, we're going to dive into Saturn return. And with all of these streams, all of these modules in the series, you are going to have access to the free version on my YouTube channel. So if you just stumbled across me and you're not subscribed, subscribe, because you're going to get the free version here. And then if you want to be part of the group, I put in the chat the link where you can check out how to become part of the group and get the recordings for not only the public, but the private aspect of the Saturn Medicine series. So I've made it very affordable. And those of you who are on your second Saturn return, there's an option there to join the extended group that will continue into the month of August 2022. To explore second Saturn return. So that's the business. I may mention it again, but that's the business, getting it out of the way. And I want to go ahead and share some slides just because it keeps me on track. So let's see here. How do I do this? Bear with me. I'm trying to do it on Zoom and do the rest of it as well. It's like having to be ambidextrous and okay. Okay, there we are. Okay, so here we are, second Saturn, or Saturn Medicine. And there's a link if you want to check out the paid version of this. Also, you know, I can't see your chat right now, so, but go ahead and chat, because we'll have an opportunity at the end, or when I take these slides down, for me to go through your comments and your questions. So feel free to chat. I just won't be able to see it. So welcome to part 1 of Saturn Medicine. And as I mentioned before, we are going to be exploring in this section the overall themes of Saturn and why it's important explore them right now. Why this is the time where you can really harness that energy, that influence of Saturn to move forward in your life. So let's talk a little bit about Saturn and who Saturn is. Saturn, in my research, is known as in Roman as the god of the god Saturn, and in Greek mythology, the god Kronos, and both of them are gods of agriculture and harvest. In medieval times, Saturn was referred to as a grim reaper, and in during the Renaissance, that's when we picked up this archetype of the father of time. So I really want to hone in on the feeling of what Saturn is from this archetype of being the god of agriculture and harvest. And one of the things that comes to mind with that is the term "reap what you sow" as the overarching purpose of the working with the energy of Saturn, of having Saturn in our astrological and human design portfolio of archetypes. So think about how the farmer works and toils and, sometimes has setbacks and floods and storms and drought, and has to hoe out the weeds and pull the weeds out and really tend to, in sometimes a very challenging way, his garden, his farm, his crops, so that he can reap the harvest of what he has sown or she has sown. I'm a female farmer, so what she has sown. If you're a farmer or a gardener and you're a female, I'm what the farmer has sown, female or male. So let's just take a moment and just breathe that in for a minute. Just that imagery of the farmer who is toiling over his or her crops, who is weathering the unpredictability of the climate, who is planning ahead, doing best practices to ensure that they have the best crop and harvest possible when it comes time to reap that harvest. So I just want you to feel into that, because sometimes that can be a little bit punishing, or feel a little punishing, like here where I live in the southeast of the United States, we're in, I don't even want to go outside. It's so hot. And, I have to go outside and tend to my orchard. And maybe you are sowing crops. Maybe you have crops or a garden, or maybe even a patio garden. And, a flood comes through, or you forget to water it, or you don't have rain. It can be very challenging to kind of figure out how you can support what you have planted so that it grows. So just feel into that energy as we move forward. So Saturn in archaic astrology is referred to as a malefic planet. And I want to kind of turn that around, but as we move into this, because I really feel that Saturn can be this, how did I put it? Your accountability partner for success. So there is a way that the way that you work with Saturn through your human design, through your astrology, it can be very empowering, as opposed to how that energy is understood, or has been understood, when we lived in a denser type of consciousness, where we felt as though collectively we were the victim to the unpredictable and the unknown. So when I talk about malefic, what I mean is energy that is capable, something that is capable of causing harm or destruction, especially by supernatural means. So that's how traditionally the energy of Saturn is understood in astrology. It comes in and it destroys things that just aren't working, and you're at the mercy of it when that happens. But I just want to introduce this understanding, or this concept, that when you're truly living in alignment, what when Saturn comes through, whether it's your Saturn return or it's the Saturn energy in the planet that it's in, and on the big grand cosmos scheme of things, um, you're not a victim to that. And when you're truly living in a grounded way, when you're living in an authentic way, and you have your structures, it doesn't have to be the tower moment kind of experience. And I just saw that my internet is unstable, so I hope that you're able to still hear me. So here's another way to feel into this archetype of Saturn. The astrological symbol for Saturn, this cross with I don't know, the upside down U or whatever it is the alchemical symbol for lead. So a lot of times the energy of Saturn can feel very heavy. It can feel like you have lead on your feet. It can feel like you're being held back in certain ways. And I just want you to feel that, in a sense, in your body, because we're all being affected by Saturn. We're all in a place where right now we're examining Saturn, or examining those themes that are being brought up by Saturn. And just kind of notice where you maybe feel heavy in your body, where you may feel heavy in your life, where maybe your life feels like, in a certain sense, there's an aspect of your life that feels like it's holding you back, or you're being held back. And then begin to transform that into an understanding that, or recognition that maybe it's not lead, but maybe it's an anchor that is enabling you to stay put for a while until you really gather and master what it is that you need to master before you move forward. So here are the traditional Saturn themes. Let me take a drink of my tea. Saturn governs karma, that reap what you sow kind of an experience. It governs limitation, restriction, punishment. These are the energies that it brings in, discipline, mastery, hard work, and commitment. So these are the things that can either be seen as like the negative, when you're in that victim state. The karma can be like, what you did something wrong, so now you have to pay the price. Or limitation is like, it can be like the feeling of being in lack and limitation, materially, with money, with with your life in general, where you feel like you're restricted in some kind of way to earning the kind of money that you need. There's the restriction, where you can't move forward, where you feel like you're boxed in. It can feel like a punishment. It can feel like you're being disciplined. It can feel like, I call this in the the way that it's looked at in archaic terms, the taskmaster. That think of you know, you're learning to play the violin or something like that, and you've got that your instructor who's got the I don't know, the walking stick or the cane, it's tapping out the notes, and you know, and try that again, do that bar again, do it over and over and over and over and over. And that's what Saturn a lot of times can feel like. And that's where you kind of can get into this feeling like it might be a punishment. But when you really put in the hard work that is yours to put in, and I didn't put in here take responsibility, but that's a big piece of it. When you start to take responsibility for yourself and let go of the responsibilities that others are trying to put on you, that aren't your things, that aren't your responsibility, then you really get clear about what is yours to commit to, what is worth committing to, that's really going to stabilize you internally and therefore eventually externally through your actions. And karma becomes this positive thing where when you sowed the seeds in the spring, you reap in the fall a bounty of abundance. You know, limitation becomes your creative, how do I put this, your creative boundaries, you know. And when you begin to recognize what limitations you can put around yourself in terms of boundaries that preserve your energy, you know, this restriction is kind of like, it becomes like this thing where you're sort of being put in. What just came to me was like an image of, like, have you ever been at one of those desks where you're, you know, it's just you and you know, and the sides are closed off, and maybe there's a light. I had those in college, and that's kind of like a restrictive thing where you can't see who's next to you and you can just focus on your work. That's how that your experience of Saturn can be transformed from being restricted from what you think you want into really having a structure of restriction that allows you to focus and be disciplined about what you're committed to. So are you starting to get how this how Saturn can be a transformative experience in your life? And I'd love to know what you're experiencing with that, you know, and I'd love to know, are you feeling restricted by Saturn? Are you feeling in a certain way restricted in your life? And does it feel like a punishment, or does it feel like a blessing? So go ahead and chat that in, or put it in the chat wherever you happen to be. Let me see. I had some other questions here for you. Let's see. Where are my questions? Yes. So, you know, limitation, restriction, the harsh teacher, the great punisher, these are all kind of can be seen as the malefic themes. Hard work, learning lessons through hard work is really what Saturn is about. So I'd love to know which themes are you experiencing, and how does it look in your life? Ah, yeah, feeling blessed, learning from mistakes. Love that. Saturn is hard on you. Yeah, I understand that, Judy. Yeah, yeah. It can be it can be quite the challenge, you know. And one of the things I want you to do, if you're feeling like Saturn is hard on you, You know, you're not feeling Saturn, the energy of Saturn, as a blessing, but you're feeling it more as, you know, this punishment. I want you to not blame yourself, but instead look at and reflect upon how you can tease out those lessons. Like Dror is saying, learning from mistakes, maybe not even mistakes, like learning from where you're sort of feeling the pressure to feeling the heaviness, the lead type of feeling the pressure maybe to work harder than you feel like you need to, or, you know, even feeling that physical, the physicalness of it, the physical heaviness of it. So, you know, this is a great time to reflect upon all of that, to reflect upon where you're feeling the heaviness, what, where you are taking, where you can lighten up, where you may be taking responsibility that's not yours, where you can begin to take responsibility in your life, in your experience, that would begin to turn the heaviness, the hardships, the hard work into the bounty of abundance, of you know, in human design terms, bounty of success if you're a projector, satisfaction if you're a generator, manifesting generator, peace if you're a manifester, and surprise if you're a reflector, where you can begin to just sort of get your feet under you. When I think of Saturn, the old ruler of Saturn was Capricorn, and now it's Aquarius. So I often think of that energy of Capricorn, where you know, it's really necessary to dive deep in a sense and get your firm footing so that you can climb up the mountain, the Capricorn goat, the sea goat, you know, diving deep and then climbing up the mountain step by step. So, you know, now the new ruler being Aquarius, Saturn is in Aquarius right now. So, and it's going to be until, what is it, January? Starry-eyed, you could tell me. I should have looked those dates up, but I think it's January of 2023 or February of 2023. And from June 4th until October 23rd, I think, somewhere around there. And of course, there's shadows on either side. We're in a place with Saturn in Aquarius where we're in the retrograde phase. So what does retrograde mean? Retrograde means RE, right? Anything that's RE, like reevaluate, redo, let's see, reorient. I have all my re's down here, hold on. Reflect, renew. So it's going, the energy is supporting us in going backward into our experience of this Saturn in Aquarius. And we've had this experience since, I didn't write that down. I wrote it down on another piece of paper that's not here. What's it been since December of 2021? We've been solidly in Saturn in Aquarius. And we had a little taste of it a few months before that, and then I went retrograde in Capricorn and came back into Aquarius. So we've been in this energy for a while. So, you know, when we think of Saturn, we're thinking of, or when we think of Aquarius, we're thinking of like society, humanitarianism. Aquarius is an air sign. Oh, let me share my screen again and I'll show you. Hold on. Let me pull up the right slide and I'll share it if you can, hopefully you can see it. I hope you can't hear my dog whining. Please excuse her if you do. the water bearer, I know that's a sketchy kind of a sketch, but it's an air sign, but it's, you know, it's, and it's the energy of thought, ideals, of really having thoughts and ideals and embracing ideals that are very collective in nature. And the image for Aquarius is the water bearer who is nourishing the earth with ideals. So that's kind of like the overall abstract way of understanding it, of understanding Saturn, or understanding Aquarius. You know, and it's really more collective than individual. But at this time of Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, we really can have this support to re-examine our own personal place within the collective. You know, and Saturn also rules technology, forward thinking, philanthropy, and how we can pour forth our ideas, our new ideas, so that we nourish our footing. I'm melding this with Saturn, so that we nourish our footing and do the right work that's really going to matter as we move forward into the future. So that's really going to nourish what we've planted so that we can bear fruit in the future. So the question for you is, and for all of us, is do we, or do you have what you need to nourish your life on Earth? You know, and in the collective sense, do we as a collective have what we need to nourish our life on Earth moving forward? You know, Aquarius is a, you know, being an air sign, is full of vision. And this is a great time to look at where you've been personally over the especially since 2021, 2020, even Saturn was in Capricorn, you know, and we, you know, everybody knows what happened in 2020. I'm not gonna, since I'm streaming on YouTube, I'm not gonna mention what that was. You know what happened in 2020. There was an extreme amount of restriction on the planet. You know, an extreme amount of focus on those Capricorn themes of, you know, getting our physical footing in the midst of extreme restriction, and finding our well-being from there. So we've moved into this era now with Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, where it's more about, okay, so we've examined that part, you know, of what it takes moving forward to be healthy, to be grounded, to be, you know, in our bodies in a way that is going to move us, going to keep us stable, even in the midst of all of the instability and upheaval on the planet. And now it's time to look at what's the vision for the future. So we've been looking at that up until around June 4th. You know, we've been looking at how do you want to live in this new world? How do you want to live with these new conditions on the planet? How do you want to live with these new conditions in your life? What is shifting and changing that's really challenging you in a certain respect to upgrade, up level, and maybe even refine your vision in a sense for how you want to be, how you want to serve, how you want to be connected to others in community. Aquarius is about community. It's about, you know, grassroots, let's take care of our people in our community kind of an energy. You know, where do you belong? What communities do you belong to? So I'd be curious to know how that energy has affected you, how you've experienced it moving forward, like from December, what did I say, 2021 one into like June. And now, you know, we've had this chance, we're having this chance from June until October to really reflect on, you know, what's shifting, what's changing, and what is that calling out of me in terms of revision, responsibility, where do I, you know, where do I see myself moving forward? What's my technology like? What's my relationship with technology? I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who've you know, I just had dinner with a friend last night who was saying, I just cannot stand to be on Facebook. You know, it's just such a drain to post things on Instagram for my business. The energy is just not feeling right to me. And I don't mean to like bash Facebook, but that's just an example of how our relationship to technology is actually changing as well. Some of you may be entertaining or reflecting upon how you can begin to use technology to enhance your life, and others of you may be wanting to feeling like you need to ditch technology altogether so that you have a better connection with people in your community, with people that you're really feeling like you want to be in communion with. So I'd love to know what you're experiencing in that regard, what you're reflecting upon during this time. And let me just switch over here to the stream. Yeah, so Judy, Capricorn is where your Saturn is second house retrograde. Yeah, and you had your second Saturn return last year. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I'm in the midst of my second Saturn return. I think it came in with Aquarius. And it's really been interesting because everything is in upheaval. Everything, and my Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius in my chart, in my human design and my astrology charts. So a lot of what I've been wrestling with has been internal. Right angle cross of service for those of you who are human design enthusiasts. It's been an internal wrestling with feeling as though I need to be serving in somewhat of a different way. And there's been a lot that has come up through the Saturn in Capricorn and the Saturn in Aquarius phases, my pre-Saturn return phase and into my Saturn return, where I've just been clearing karma. I've been very, very aware that I'm clearing a lot of stuff from the past. I'm clearing a lot of stuff that is no longer working for me. When my second Saturn return came in, and I'll talk about this in number 3 of this series, but when it came in, it's like I felt the energetic door close on a lot of things. And I'm not quite sure what all of those things are. So this Saturn retrograde period, I'm really weeding through that and really asking myself some questions around that. And I want to share those before we hop off of the live stream. I want to share those questions with you so that you have those to ponder. What kind of karma have you resolved in this time? Like those of you who are doing on the metaphysical multi-dimensional path, you know, you may have been acutely aware or suspected that, you know, you're here resolving all kinds of karma on different timelines. And you know, it's, you know, or, you know, if you're focused on this life exclusively, you may realize that there are things from your past that you have to go back and clear up. You know, relationships that you have to reconcile or resolve, things that you need to forgive. So that's a good question to ponder during this Saturn retrograde period. And this is going to help you get that new foundation for moving forward, that new foundation for eventually expanding. So that's a good question. And then let's see, what corrections have you made? What has come up in your life where you've had to go back and make corrections? And I'll tell you one thing that has been really, really challenging for me is last year during the Saturn in Aquarius, that little window, I restructured the entire way that I did onboarded clients, and I used a new technology, or technology that was new to me, a new client management system, preparing for like the one-to-one clients that had been building over time. When I got to my Saturn retrograde or my Saturn return, when that energy shifted, I found myself having to take all of that apart, and I had to simplify it. I had to make it different. And I still don't know what that's about, except necessity made it that. It was way too big for what I feel that I'm shifting into. It was way too heavy for that. And I'm waiting for the new technology, the next technology to come in. So I had to go back and make all kinds of shifts and corrections in what I had created that really took a lot of effort for me. None of that is lost because I learned a whole lot and it was easier to set the next system up as a result. But corrections, they have to be made. Now, just as a little segue, if you go over to Vedic Life Coach, she just put out Swati, oh gosh, why can't I remember her name? I love her. Anyway, she's a Vedic astrologer. And human design, as you know, is steeped in Western astrology. But she just put out a great video on troubleshooting your Saturn. And it's something that if you're particularly challenged, you may want to go and watch that video, because it can help you to make corrections in your energy by taking certain actions. And that's what Vedic astrology is really great for. They give you remedies for certain things. You can take certain actions that really kind of help you shift the energy of your relationship to Saturn. So Vedic Life Coach, Troubleshooting Saturn. It's one of her most recent videos. And let's see. How are you using, for those of you who are doing your human design experiment, how are you using your strategy and authority? Are you following your strategy and authority? Where is that leading you? What has that brought forth in your life? And where do you need to work a little harder in alignment with your design to fulfill your intentions and your goals? Where do you have certain places in your life where you're not quite there, or maybe you need to rework something to make yourself there, to make yourself put yourself on that path, or to be put on that path? And how does your strategy and authority play into that? And what is the work that's being called out of you because of that? And what are you committing to at this point? What have you committed to that serves you? And what have you committed to that maybe you need to say no to at this point? Because Saturn is about those boundaries. This is a great time to re-examine your boundaries. It's a great time to re-examine your work. It's a great time to re-examine how you are working with your strategy and authority. It's a great time to look at what needs to be corrected and resolved so that you can move forward. So George says, I'm an Aries, and I feel for a while now to connect to nature more and to take leadership roles in my business and with friends. Interesting. Yeah, I like that. I know in my experience, I'm feeling that as well. It's like every single reading that I do for myself, and I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of this kind of work, which is intuitive art, and just following my own guidance, working with my own guides. And this is actually the one that came through when I asked, what do I need to do with regard to this series on Saturn? And, uh, I got asked for innovative ideas, play like a child, surround my inner child with the color of watermelon. I've been working a lot with colors. I've actually been working with grids and sacred geometry. So surround your inner child with the color of watermelon at night to build her self-esteem, and ground myself, and that grounding drawer that keeps coming up for me over and over and over again, even though it's really hot outside and I don't want to go outside. I do make a point to go outside and be barefoot, to take a walk when I can, to work in my orchard, to commune with my trees. But yeah, that ground myself thing keeps coming up quite a bit. And the more I ground myself, the more things like this come through, which is, yeah, this one is about being balanced. It's important to put your focus upon what you can do with what you have. You have great skill and potential for abundance and prosperity within the four walls of your own experience. So that's what came through with this grid. And then this grid is the Tree of Life. And it's actually a grid that I'm working on for, it's something that I've been guided to do that is like the foundation under the map for moving forward with some of my intentions in my business. So it doesn't look like anything that has to do with taking leadership in business, but it actually is, because it's the foundation of the way that I'm going to serve in the future. And I'm reworking that, reorienting myself during this time. So before we jump off, I have an assignment for all of you. And that is to, if you want to, in the comments, if you're watching this at a later date, to really share with me what you are reflecting upon in terms of reworking what's most challenging to you, and where you feel that is leading you in this Saturn in Aquarius energy. Yeah. Grounding is your most favorite thing these days. And that's what Saturn is about. Like, as I was meditating on this, I'm probably going to do some work with you guys on the root chakra, because the grounding of Saturn is about, it can enable you to heal your root chakra as well. And that we need that on the planet. So many people are in desperate survival, and they're suffering from, all kinds of atrocities. And, and those of us who maybe have it a little better, we're being triggered in maybe our past life experiences, maybe our current life experiences of old traumas that need to be healed and cleared. And it's keeping us from really being fully grounded. But yeah, like you said, you're connecting more with the trees and the animals. And you're in Miami, so I don't have an excuse for not going outside. I know it's hot there, so I need to be out. That's like the first step for getting your footing, so that you can be firmly supported by the earth, moving forward, firmly working with the beneficent influence of Saturn. So I think that is going to be it. I just want to put in the chat one more time this link for anyone who is coming by later, who may want to join us for these private sessions that we're getting ready to do. And there, you know, you'll have access to all 3 of the paid private sessions. You can read about it, and you'll also have the recordings as well, and anything else that comes through that doesn't come through on the live stream that I want to put in. So let me think here. I can't talk and type at the same time. Bear with me. It's bit.ly, bit.ly / Saturn return or Saturn Medicine. And those of you who are going through your second Saturn return, you can read about a little bit about the group that will continue the month after we've done these 3 streams. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for the first Saturn Medicine thing, and in you know, perfect form with Saturn. I really apologize for not being able to get on the original scheduled live stream. I have no idea if the other ones are going to work. Again, technology, Saturn and Aquarius. So here we go, rocking and rolling with it. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Dror and Starry Eyed for showing up, and Judy for being on the chat. And we're going to close it down now and just go to our private Zoom room and continue our discussion and our Saturn Medicine energy activation. I'm so excited that guidance came through this morning. I'm so excited to be able to do that. So thanks again, and we'll see you next Saturday for part 2. Whether you join us on YouTube or in the group, you'll get this first live stream part for in the public live stream. So take care, everyone. Have a great week. Let me see how I can get out.